All right. Ready to dive deep into some seriously passionate film debates.
Always.
Today we're tackling the filmography of, well, who else? Tom Hanks.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Exactly. And to navigate this cinematic landscape, we're turning to, well, the fans. We've got a top 10 best Tom Hanks movies list, straight from the source. The Top 10's website, to be exact. And let me tell you, the comments section is a gold mine.
Oh, I bet. People get pretty vocal about their Hanks favorite.
You can say that again. Right off the bat, we see Forrest Gump claiming the top spot. It's no surprise, really. I mean, the comments are overflowing with praise for, the emotional depth, Hank's performance. It's Oscar-worthy, no doubt. One user even said the character spent his lifetime chasing love. Thus, the tragedy of life is depicted very truly.
That's a pretty profound observation. Forrest Gump does have a way of blending humor and heartbreak, doesn't it?
It really does.
Uh,
One minute you're laughing out loud, the next you're reaching for the tissues. It's a roller coaster of emotions, for sure.
exactly. It's that unique blend that makes it so powerful, so enduring. The film taps into, those universal themes, love, loss, searching for meaning, but it does it in a way that's both, profound and entertaining. And Hanks, as Forrest, so genuine, so endearing, you can't help but get drawn into his world.
Totally agree. But here's where things get interesting. While Forrest Gump sits comfortably at number one, there's a whole group of fans who think other Hanks films deserve that top spot.
Makes sense. I mean, film is subjective, right? What resonates with one person might not land the same way for someone else.
Exactly, and that's what makes these fan rankings so fascinating. We get a glimpse into how people connect with Hanks's work, how it speaks to them on a personal level. And speaking of connecting with audiences, let's talk about those films where Hanks faces some truly extraordinary circumstances. I'm thinking Saving Private Ryan, Captain Phillips.
Oh, definitely. Both films showcase Hanks as, well, a leader under immense pressure.
Hmm.
In Saving Private Ryan, he's Captain Miller leading his men through, well, the horrors of World War II. And then in Captain Phillips, he's a modern-day sea captain facing off against, well, Somali pirates.
What's amazing is how Hanks portrays both strength and vulnerability in these roles. He's not just a stoic hero. He's a human being, grappling with fear, doubt, but still, rising to the occasion.
Right. And that relatability, that's what makes his performances so compelling. One commenter even called Saving Private Ryan the greatest war movie one will ever see.
Huh.
What do you think? Is it the realism of the film, or is it more about the characters' emotional journeys?
It's got to be both, right? Spielberg's direction, it's masterful. He captures the brutality of war in a way that's, well, almost too real. But it's the human element that really stays with you, how these characters respond to, well, to the horrors around them. And Hanks, as Captain Miller, he anchors the film. He embodies, the weight of leadership, the responsibility, but also this deep compassion for his men.
You nailed it. And it's so interesting to compare Saving Private Ryan to Captain Phillips, a more modern story, but, well, still dealing with courage, survival. Hanks delivers another powerful performance, showing us the resilience of the human spirit in the face of danger.
Yeah. Captain Phillips is fascinating. It's not just about the physical threat, right? Hanks portrays the psychological toll of the experience, that
Yeah.
trauma. It's incredibly captivating to watch.
Absolutely. And from captivating, let's move on to, well, let's face it, tearjerkers. The Green Mile, Castaway. Both films known for their emotional impact, but in very different ways. The Green Mile, it's a supernatural drama. Justice, compassion, the miraculous. One comment sums it up perfectly. No other words to describe this movie other than simply stunning.
It's one of those films that sticks with you.
Well,
The performances are all incredible. Hanks as Paul Edgecombe, quiet dignity, humanity.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but man, is it moving.
It really is. And then we have Castaway, which is basically a solo performance by Hanks. He's Chuck Nolan, stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash. Talk about breathtaking cinematography. Hanks conveying so much emotion with, well, practically no dialogue. It's remarkable.
Masterclass in physical acting, wouldn't you say? You see the despair, the determination, the sheer will to survive etched on his face.
Yeah.
That setting, the island, the ocean, it's like they become characters themselves, reflecting Chuck's, well, isolation, his internal struggles.
Wow, yeah. The setting as a mirror for his emotional journey. That's a great way to put it. Okay, now let's switch gears. Let's talk Toy Story. A film that, well, holds a special place in so many hearts. It launched a global phenomenon and introduced the world to Woody, voiced by, of course, Tom Hanks.
Toy Story, a classic. Proof that animation can tell stories that resonate with everyone, no matter the age. And Hanks, as Woody, iconic. He brings warmth, humor, a touch of vulnerability.
One user said it best. Tom Hanks nails Woody. Couldn't agree more. But it does raise an interesting question. Is it even fair to compare animated performances to live-action roles when we're talking about an actor's range, their impact?
That's a good point. It is a different kind of performance. In animation, you're relying solely on your voice to bring the character to life. But Hanks in Toy Story, proof that he's equally skilled in both mediums.
Totally. And he's maintained that consistency throughout the whole Toy Story franchise. Woody's become such an iconic character, and Hanks's voice is such a huge part of that.
It's hard to imagine anyone else voicing Woody. It's like they were made for each other.
Right. It speaks to his talent, his dedication. He's not just phoning it in. He brings the same level of, commitment, nuance to his voice work as he does to his live-action roles. And speaking of nuance, let's talk about those films where Hanks plays characters who are a bit more, complex, morally ambiguous. Big, Philadelphia, Catch Me If You Can. These films go beyond the typical hero, allowing Hanks to explore, different facets of human nature.
Big, for example. Such a classic. Blends comedy and fantasy, but at its core, it's about longing, innocence, the complexities of growing up. Hanks, as Josh Baskin, a 12-year-old boy trapped in a man's body. He captures the wonder, the confusion, perfectly.
It's incredible. One commenter mentioned how Big inspired them as a kid. And it's interesting how the film deals with some pretty mature themes, sexuality, identity, but it does it in a way that's both humorous and heartwarming.
It's all in the writing, the direction, and of course Hanks's performance. He brings such childlike innocence to the role that you can't help but root for Josh, even when he's, making some questionable choices.
Right. And then you have Philadelphia, a film that, tackled a very sensitive topic, HIV/AIDS, back in the early 90s. Hanks plays Andrew Beckett, a lawyer who's fired after his employers discover he has AIDS.
Groundbreaking film for its time.
Yeah.
And Hanks's performance. Powerful, heartbreaking. He brought a human face to a disease that was, so often stigmatized and misunderstood. And he did it with such grace, such dignity.
Absolutely. And we can't forget the context of the time. So much fear, misinformation surrounding HIV/AIDS back then. Hanks's willingness to take on this role, it helped to raise awareness, foster compassion for those affected by the disease.
Such a courageous choice for him, personally and professionally. A testament to his commitment to using his platform to tell stories that matter.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And lastly, let's talk Catch Me If You Can. A charming cat and mouse tale. Hanks plays Carl Hanratty, the FBI agent chasing Frank Abagnale Jr., a teenage con artist played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
This film, it's all about pacing, storytelling, the chemistry between Hanks and DiCaprio, electric. Hanks brings this dry wit, this determination to his role.
It reminds us that he can do it all, comedy, drama, and everything in between. And what's interesting is how Catch Me If You Can blurs the lines, Hero, villain. Frank's a criminal, yes, but he's also charming, resourceful. You kind of find yourself rooting for him at times.
Exactly. It challenges our perceptions of right and wrong, forces us to ask, who are we supposed to be rooting for? It speaks to the form's complexity, the nuanced performances from both Hanks and DiCaprio.
We've only just scratched the surface of, the passionate discussions surrounding Tom Hanks's filmography.
Oh, for sure. From the charm of Sleepless in Seattle to the comedic brilliance of Splash, there's something for everyone.
And we'll be right back to unearth even more cinematic treasures from the world of Tom Hanks. Stay tuned. We're back and ready to dig up some more of those cinematic gems from the world of Tom Hanks. We've talked about the big hits, but what about those films that maybe don't immediately come to mind, the ones that got those comment sections, buzzing?
That's where it gets really fun. You see the range of Hanks' choices, the risks he took, roles that might have even surprised his biggest fans.
Exactly, like Apollo 13. Based on the true story of that pretty intense lunar mission, one commenter said it was both happy and tearful at the same time, which I think captures the emotional ride of the whole experience perfectly.
It shows Hanks' ability to play characters who are, facing incredible odds but still manage to persevere. Think about it. He's stuck in a tiny spacecraft, millions of miles from Earth, oxygen running low, but he never gives up hope. He embodies that never-give-up spirit that people love.
And what I find so compelling about Apollo 13 is that it's not just about, space exploration. It's about human ingenuity, teamwork. You see these astronauts, the engineers, ground control, all working together, pushing the limits to bring those men home.
Exactly. And Hanks, as Jim Lovell, the commander, he's the heart of it all, keeping everyone calm, focused, determined to succeed.
Okay, now for something completely different. A League of Their Own, a mix of comedy, sports drama, a bit of historical fiction, all set during World War II when women's baseball leagues, well, took center stage.
It's a film that celebrates women, their strength, their teamwork, the love of the game, and Hanks. He brings that comedic timing to Jimmy Duggan, the tough but lovable manager of the Rockford Peaches.
Oh, I gotta say it, there's no crying in baseball. Pure gold.
Yeah.
But beyond the laughs, A League of Their Own touches on, well, some pretty serious stuff. Gender roles, societal expectations, the sacrifices women made during the war.
It's a reminder that Hanks often chooses roles that explore these social issues, these historical moments, using his platform to shed light on stories that might otherwise be forgotten.
Now let's talk Road to Perdition. This one surprised a lot of people. It's Hanks in a much darker role than what we were used to. He plays Michael Sullivan, a hitman during the Depression era, who goes on the run with his son to protect him from, well, his old mob boss.
One commenter said they couldn't even picture Hanks as a criminal before this movie. Shows just how much he can transform himself for a role.
And it's not just the acting that's amazing. The cinematography in Road to Perdition is, well, it's stunning. The light, the shadows, the landscapes, the rainy streets, it all creates this incredibly atmospheric world.
It's visually stunning, that's for sure. And the violence when it happens, it's shocking. You see the toll it takes on Michael. It's a long way from those lighthearted roles that Hanks is known for.
And speaking of films that might surprise people, there's Bridge of Spies, a Cold War thriller directed by, well, none other than Steven Spielberg. Hanks is in a role that's, well, it's both understated and incredibly powerful. He's James Donovan, an American lawyer tasked with negotiating the release of a captured U.S. pilot from the Soviet Union.
Bridge of Spies is, well, it's a masterclass in dialogue, in building tension. It's a slow burn, but it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. And Hanks, his performance it's all about restraint. He says so much with just a look, a gesture, a carefully chosen word.
One commenter even said it was Oscar-worthy. I have to agree. It reminds us that Hanks doesn't need, well, those big moments, those dramatic outbursts to be captivating. He can command the screen with this quiet intensity that's just as, well, mesmerizing.
And what's interesting about Bridge of Spies is that it explores, diplomacy, compassion, finding common ground in the middle of conflict. These are themes that really resonate today, which makes the film even more relevant.
For sure. It reminds us that Hanks often chooses projects that have something to say about, well, about us. About our capacity for good, for bad, the choices we make in tough situations.
Now let's talk about The Terminal, a heartwarming and, well, pretty thought-provoking film. Hanks plays Victor Navorsky, a man from an Eastern European country who gets stuck at JFK Airport when there's a coup back home, making his passport, well, useless.
It's a story about finding hope, finding connection in the most unexpected places. One commenter loved how Hanks's character built relationships, even found love, all within an airport terminal.
It shows that Hanks can, well, he can find the humanity in every role. He doesn't shy away from characters who are, flawed or vulnerable. He embraces those imperfections and makes them, well, relatable.
The terminal is a great example of that. Victor is thrown into this crazy situation, living in an airport, dealing with a bureaucratic nightmare, but he doesn't lose his optimism, his kindness, his belief in people.
And that's what makes him such a compelling character. He's an everyman, an outsider, trying to make the best of a bad situation. And Hanks brings that to life with warmth, with humor. You can't help but root for him.
We've talked about some amazing films, but there are even more contenders out there.
Like Toy Story 3. It shows that this franchise, well, it's timeless. This one pulled at our heartstrings, reminded us about friendship, letting go.
It's incredible to think that this franchise has spanned decades, captivating people of all ages, and Hanks's voice is Woody. It's been there the whole time, bringing this beloved character to life.
One commenter even mentioned that Toy Story 3 ranks higher than The Green Mile and Big on some lists of the best movies ever. It shows that Hanks can connect with people across generations.
Now, Captain Phillips, Hanks at his most intense, a performance that's both vulnerable and and so commanding.
One commenter said it was breathtaking, full of intensity and excitement. It keeps you glued to your seat the whole time.
And it's not just, your typical action thriller. Captain Phillips explores the complexities of piracy, the reasons behind it, the human cost for, well, for everyone involved.
It's a reminder that Hanks often chooses roles that make us think, make us question the world.
Absolutely. From Sleepless in Seattle to Splash, there really is something for everyone in Hank's filmography.
And let's not forget those bold choices, like the Da Vinci Code.
Mm.
Hanks brought Robert Langdon to life with an intensity that, well, that really captivated people.
One commenter even said they'd watch it over 50 times. It's clear that Hanks has this magnetic quality that draws people in. And then there's Turner and Hooch, a heartwarming animal story, a mix of laughter and some tears.
A classic buddy cop movie, but with a dog. It shows that Hanks can connect with, well, not just human co-stars, but animal ones too. It makes you wonder, is there anything this guy can't do?
Right.
We've talked about war epics, comedies that make you feel good, dramas that make you think. What's clear is that Tom Hanks has consistently given us performances that connect with us on a deep level.
He's played heroes, villains, everyday people, always bringing this authenticity, this humanity to each role.
I think it's safe to say we've only just begun to explore his filmography. But as we head into the final part of our deep dive, let's think about this. What is it about Tom Hanks that makes him so beloved? What makes his performances so memorable, his characters so relatable? It's something to ponder as we keep exploring. Welcome back to our Tom Hanks extravaganza. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, wouldn't you say? We've explored everything from those feel-good comedies to those intense dramas that leave you thinking. Definitely a roller coaster ride through some incredible performances. And along the way, we've heard from some pretty passionate fans who clearly adore Tom Hanks's work. It's obvious that he has this ability to connect with people in a way that few actors can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what is it exactly? What makes him so universally loved? Is it his versatility, that everyman charm, his knack for picking roles that really hit home,
Yeah.
tap into the human experience? Let's see if we can, unpack some of what we've learned.
One thing that's clear is his incredible range. He can make us laugh 1 minute in Big and then break our hearts in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He could be the voice of a toy sheriff in Toy Story and then the captain of a ship scaring down pirates in Captain Phillips. It's like he has this gift for understanding human emotion, no matter the genre, no matter the setting.
And speaking of Captain Phillips, what struck me was how much he conveys with very little dialogue in that film, especially during those intense hostage scenes. His physicality, his facial expressions, they become the main way he communicates.
Exactly. That's what makes him such a master of his craft.
Yeah.
He's not just, reciting lines. He's living the role. He becomes Captain Phillips, allowing us to feel everything he's going through, the fear, the desperation, that tiny bit of hope. It's the kind of performance that you don't forget.
And that emotional impact, it's a hallmark of Hank's work, isn't it? Whether it's those tearjerker moments in The Green Mile or the bittersweet goodbyes in Toy Story 3, he has this way of making us feel things deeply.
He's not afraid to be, vulnerable, to show us those cracks in his characters. He lets them be flawed, make mistakes, experience the full range of human emotions. And that's what makes them so relatable, so real.
It's amazing to me how even a simple ranking list like the one we're using can cause such heated debates. The Toy Story versus Forrest Gump arguments are a perfect example.
It just goes to show that art is subjective, right? Our own experiences, our values, our tastes, they all influence how we see a film, how we connect with it. What makes one person cry might leave another, totally unmoved. And that's okay.
It's what makes these conversations so interesting. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to what we like or dislike. But I think we can all agree that Tom Hanks has consistently given us performances that have touched our lives in a meaningful way.
He makes us think, he makes us feel, he makes us question the world around us. He's a storyteller who reminds us of the importance of empathy, of connection, of the strength of the human spirit.
One commenter said it perfectly. Tom Hanks is truly my #1 favorite and best actor, in my opinion. Now, that might be, a subjective statement, but it really speaks to the admiration and respect that he's earned over his long career.
He's a true icon. He's transcended generations, leaving this incredible mark on cinema.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of our Tom Hanks journey. We've explored his biggest hits, some hidden gems, and the lasting impact of one of well, one of cinema's most beloved actors.
I hope this deep dive has maybe inspired you to rewatch some of your favorites or even discover some new Hanks films that you haven't seen before.
And if you're feeling inspired, we'd love to hear from you. Share your favorite Tom Hanks moments, those performances that have really stayed with you. What is it about him that makes him so enduring? Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, happy watching.
And may your life be filled with movie magic.